At Preston Corporation, Linda is known as the most hard-working employee in the office. Her manager, Donovan, is impressed by her latest report and praises her talent, but he still doesn't allow her to attend the board meeting. He promises that he will tell everyone the work is hers. However, when the meeting starts, Donovan removes her name and takes all the credit himself. Linda tries to share her frustration with a coworker, but she comes across as awkward and strange. When other coworkers plan an outing, she tries to join them, but she is always left out. At home, Linda has no friends or family. She appears alone in all her vacation photos, and her only companion is her pet parrot. Even then, Linda stays hopeful and believes that if she works hard enough, she will succeed one day. The company owner even once said she could become the next vice president. After dinner, Linda enjoys watching Survivor. Her books and travel photos show she is very interested in survival skills. The next day, Bradley takes over his late father's role as company president. Linda quickly hides her lunch and rushes to introduce herself, but she accidentally has mayo on her face, which makes Bradley uncomfortable. She tries to make a joke about shoes, but it only makes things more awkward, so Bradley leaves for his office. Later, he notices the mayo on his hand and complains about how disgusting Linda is. Executive Franklin tells him that Linda was promised the vice president position, but Bradley decides to give the promotion to Donovan instead. Franklin explains that the company relies heavily on Linda, and even Bradley's father trusted her with everything. Bradley doesn't care and says she should be moved to another office so she stays out of sight. Franklin then reminds him about an important meeting in Bangkok. Donovan cannot handle it alone, and no one has solved the issue with Appendix D. Bradley agrees to take Linda on the trip, but only to help Donovan, not to attend meetings. Later, Linda sees Bradley and Donovan acting very friendly together. A coworker tells her they were fraternity friends and that Donovan has already been promoted to vice president. Angry, Linda goes to Bradley's office and asks why she didn't get the promotion. She points out that Donovan has worked there for only 6 months while she has worked for 7 years. Bradley says Linda is good with numbers but not good with people, and he needs someone who can impress others. He also embarrasses her by pointing out something stuck in her teeth. As a compromise, Bradley tells her to join the Bangkok trip and solve Appendix D to prove herself. Linda tries to argue, but Bradley ignores her and goes to play golf. At that moment, Bradley's fiancée Zuri arrives, and Linda notices her expensive ring. As Linda leaves, Bradley tells her that people have complained about her eating lunch at her desk because of the smell, so she must eat in the break room. This is not true. He is the only one bothered. Linda walks through the office trying not to cry, feeling like everyone is watching her. She reaches her car and tries to tell herself she is enough, but she still breaks down in tears. On the day of the trip, Linda arrives at the airport excited and says she has solved Appendix D, but Bradley doesn't listen. During the flight, Linda keeps working while the others joke around. Donovan finds Linda's audition tape for Survivor and shows it to everyone, making them laugh at her. Hurt and embarrassed, Linda decides not to send her solution report. Suddenly, the plane shakes, and the flight attendant tells everyone to sit down and fasten seatbelts. Linda and Bradley follow instructions, but Bradley jokes that only weak people need seatbelts, so the others laugh and ignore the warning. When the plane shakes again, Donovan and 2 other employees are thrown around. The plane catches fire and begins to crash. A hole opens in the wall, and 1 employee is sucked out. Donovan grabs Linda's leg, and she tries to help him, but he only demands her seat. Another employee grabs Donovan's leg, and chaos breaks out. Linda loses her glasses during the struggle. Donovan even grabs her by the throat, forcing her to fight back. She stabs his hand with a fork, causing him to let go, and both men are pulled out of the plane. Donovan's body gets stuck briefly before disappearing. After losing an engine, the plane crashes into the sea and starts filling with water. Linda struggles to free herself from her seatbelt, then swims out, terrified by the dead flight attendant. She reaches the surface just as the plane sinks. The next morning, Linda wakes up on an island. She explores and finds Bradley unconscious with a deep cut on his leg. She quickly makes tools using rocks, builds a shelter with branches, and collects water using coconut shells. When it rains, she stays safe in the shelter while caring for Bradley. The next day, she gives him water when he wakes up. He breaks down after learning no one else survived and thanks her. Linda starts a fire and catches fish to cook. Bradley refuses to eat because of the smell, so she forces him to eat anyway. The following day, Linda finds a conch shell and feels proud, but Bradley complains that she should focus on finding rescue instead of survival. When he tries to stand, he feels pain. He refuses her help and reminds her that she is his employee. Frustrated, Linda leaves him alone. Soon, Bradley realizes he cannot survive without her. He becomes weak from hunger and sunburn. Linda returns and helps him again, making it clear they are not in the office anymore. Bradley finally accepts her help. Linda decides to hunt a boar after seeing tracks. Bradley doubts her abilities, but she proves him wrong. In the forest, she faces the boar, and after a dangerous struggle, she manages to kill it. She proudly brings the meat back, and they eat well. Days later, Linda finds a waterfall and even sees a boat, but chooses not to ask for help because she feels happy on the island. Bradley, however, becomes frustrated and wants to leave. They argue, and he insults her, but she reminds him that he is only successful because of his father. Bradley tries to survive on his own, but fails badly. Meanwhile, Linda builds a better shelter, finds food, and even creates tools. Eventually, Bradley apologizes and begs for her help. She makes him admit how much he underestimated her before allowing him back. Over time, they work together. Linda teaches him survival skills, and they slowly bond. They share personal stories, including painful past experiences, and begin to understand each other better. One day, Bradley secretly builds a raft and poisons Linda with berries so he can escape alone. However, the raft fails, and he nearly drowns. Linda saves him despite being sick. Later, she teaches him a harsh lesson by temporarily paralyzing him with a toxin and scaring him into respecting her authority. From then on, Bradley becomes more obedient. Later, a boat arrives with Zuri, who came searching for Bradley. Linda feels conflicted and doesn't want to leave the island. She leads Zuri and the captain up a dangerous path and lets them fall to their deaths. Afterward, she struggles with guilt but says nothing. Bradley later finds Zuri's ring and confronts Linda. She denies killing her, but he doesn't believe her, and they fight violently. The fight leads them to another part of the island where Bradley discovers a hidden house. Linda reveals she knew about it all along and had been secretly using it. The final confrontation happens there. Bradley tries to manipulate her emotionally, but she sees through it. They fight again, and Linda ultimately kills him. A year later, Linda is rescued and becomes famous. People believe she was the only survivor. She writes a book about her experience, which is planned to become a movie. Now she is writing a self-help book about survival and success, presenting herself as a strong and inspiring woman.